Hello and welcome to another installment of Conversations with the Tufenkian Foundation. I'm Bedo Demircan, the Public Relations and Communications Director of the Foundation. Today I have the pleasure to host Mira Antonyan, the President of Armenian Association of Social Workers. With her we will be talking today about their extremely important work that they're doing all over Armenia, and specifically in Syunik, with which we have partnered and are doing work and working with the Artsakhs who are in the Syunik region of Armenia. So, hello Mira, you're welcome.
Thank you for this invitation.
Your association and our foundation, we officially partnered back in November of 2023, last year. And together we opened, and now it's currently in operation already, a center in Syunik, in Goris, which unfortunately is working with the Artsakhs, the forcibly displaced population of Artsakh after the ethnic cleansing of September. What's the situation? I mean, what can you generally tell us about that center specifically?
Tufenkian Foundation was, I think, first one after the UNICEF that responded our request on starting a project, especially in Goris, in village area, is we got a big number of refugees, displaced people who were placed there. How our association was involved in this and why we applied to Tufenkian Foundation. I know Tufenkian Foundation for many years. After the war back in 2020, for that period, we were hoping that this is last devastating fact that we will face, but later on we know what happened. As an association, we went to Artsakh when people returned back home, and there were just a few foundations who were working after war. Before war, there were a lot of foundations. But Tufenkian Foundation was one who continued to have different activities there. So when we went there, we met like different organizations and Tufenkian Foundation, of course, as well, and to know who does what there and how we can help. We understood that, we knew that, but we understood also that Artsakh actually doesn't have even one social worker. That profession was not there at all. So as an association, we started with government of Artsakh to introduce a professional social work. We started very short, intense courses for paraprofessionals. Then we were able to open 2 master degree programs in Artsakh.
In Artsakh, yes.
One in Artsakh State University, another one in private university called After Mashtots. The process was very effectively going, and those who were already passing our short-term trainings, they were hired by government of Artsakh to start to work. So we were able to open in Martoni psychosocial support center to work with children and family. And with this center, we had several cross-cutting issues with Tufenkian Foundation, as Tufenkian was working in the Martoni area in many issues. So I think we became a very good partner there without having any funding, or that cooperation was how to say cooperation.
Yes.
Maybe professional cooperation. Our social workers who were providing information about families and then applying to Tufenkian Foundation, who is ready to start, for example, an activity program like for them to start some business, small business, family business, etc. But not only for health issues. For many issues, we had contact already with the Tufenkian Foundation. After what happened back in September, I was more than sure that foundation will understand us, as they already know what we are doing there, what we were doing in Artsakh, so it will be very easy discussion. While we were with many other volunteers welcoming people who were passing Goris and Goris, we had in our mind that there are a lot of helpers in place, but very soon the honeymoon will end. People will return to their everyday life, and professional support will be needed very much. Someone needs to be there continuously to work with people, because displacement, it's not an easy something. It creates, and especially if it is done forced displacement. Yes. When someone makes decision to move, to live somewhere, it's another thing. But if you have to, then it's, of course, it brings a lot of issues for individuals, for families, traumas, memories, injustice, feeling of injustice. It's all there, and they cannot, overcome this it will take months, if not years. So after welcoming, we were looking how government trying to help people, and we noticed that with humanitarian aid, they ask local communities to take care of, and with United Social Services, the order from government was on data collecting and helping people for access to services. There was a big gap, and we created a model that will fulfill this gap. So whatever government does on local level or on national level, we take it into consideration, but also from point of view, from the position of our beneficiaries. Okay, what is missing? We tried to find out what are the missing parts. The missing parts were proactive approach. Not all displaced people will come to these services. They don't know even where to go. For many Artsakhis, this is first time for them that they visited Armenia.
Yes.
For many of them, they don't have any relatives or so-called non-formal supporters. Some do, but not all of them. Another gap that we don't have the specially appointed person who is, for example, who takes personal responsibility for some amount of families. And all the process is structured in a way that if you need something, you go to municipality, you apply for something and you get it. But you cannot go there sometimes. You cannot afford yourself to go there. You may live quite far from the center, municipality center, which means physical barrier.
Yes.
But there are a lot of psychological barriers as well. I'm one who was living on their own. I had my business there, I had my family, I had my income, so I cannot push me to go stand in a long line and wait until these boxes will be. For many of Artsakhis, this is really extra traumatizing thing. Knowing this, we went there, and
by there you mean Syunik, the Syunik region, yes.
Now we are in different regions, but I'm just trying to tell the story of Goris.
Yes.
We had a preliminary agreement with UNICEF before it. I think international organizations were kind of preparing themselves with we locals. We did not even
to think about
it will happen, but I think there are other processes behind the scenario, so they knew. So we had a preliminary agreement that whenever the crisis will happen, the agreement will become to contract, so we can start our activities. So we started with UNICEF there, and but this was as number of families were very big. So with UNICEF, we were able only to cover those who are living directly in Goris, not in Goris whole enlarged community, but especially in the administrative center of Goris.
The community of Goris.
Community of Goris, enlarged community, so there is administration center Goris, and there are 22 different villages. So with Tufenkian Foundation, we started to work with villages as it was not counted in that contract. So first we opened the center. We looked, first of all, we looked to our social workers from Artsakh. We knew that they are the same displaced people. Of course, they needed some extra supervision and mentorship because they were experiencing the same issues as any other Artsakhis. But we decided that if they start to do something as a social workers, actually this will be a recovery for themselves as well. We hired 4 Artsakhi social workers. Some of them are part-time, some of them are full-time, and 2 local social workers. And this combination is done for purpose. The local people are experts in local sources. They have contacts. They know whom to call when there is such kind of need. But people from Artsakh, they know language. They know some cultural specifics. For example, if you go to Artsakh family, the men will go out. If you are women who enter there, they will go out to, I don't know, smoke or what. And you will talk only to
the women. Okay, let me stop you for a moment.
We have men and women.
Exactly. So this is what I was going to ask you now. You have to work with the men as well. These men who were at the forefront of the war, in the trenches, they've lost their comrades, they've seen it all. Because of this mentality, and you mentioned that you have male social workers, colleagues as well. Would you please elaborate a little bit on the men, from the men's point of view?
In Goris, we couldn't find even one social worker paraprofessional, who been involved in our intense course back in Artsakh. So here we decided that we have just to look to people, persons who are with open mind, who wants to learn, who wants to help others. So there was an announcement. We invited people for interview, and we decided to choose those who are really convenient. They want to work. They want to work with people. They are ready to go to home visits. They are ready to learn something. So all factors were very important. And we hired them. 2 of them are men, and others are women. And with our mentorship, the professional social worker from the association, we appointed a person who is continuously there. And actually this is one, he and she. So they work both with men and women. They are things that doesn't matter if this is woman or man, but they are specific issues where you really need to consider.
Mira, it's been a little more than 6 months already after September. And you just said that in the beginning there were some issues. Now there are some other issues. How do you and your association, your social workers in Syunik or in general, how do they see this displaced Artsakh now? I mean, what do you see? What happened? I mean, it's been 6 months. We know the situation. So how do you assess the situation before, now, and how do you see it?
Honestly, first period, if you start conversation with Artsakh people, it was, of course, frustration, disappointment, lots of traumatic, etc. situation. But it was obvious that they are waiting something. Very soon it will change. Very soon there will be news like, okay.
We're going back,
and they were not ready to discuss even any idea where we're going to stay. They all took it as a temporary something, so very soon it will over and they will go back. Now it's different. I think now issues are more clear. that it will not happen very soon. Even it is not, we cannot have this hope for 1 or 2 years minimum. And there is a situation when they have to make their decisions for their life, for their families.
Yeah.
For us, it was very important to understand what is their decision about staying in Armenia or leaving Armenia. And social workers actually, they continuous line and continuous meetings. The main idea is help them to make more informed decisions. Mm-hmm. We consult with very trustful people from Artsakh, for example, Mr. Beglarian.
Yes.
We invite him to have meetings with, people. This is like open conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We need these trustful people to be in front of them.
We need to have this open conversation as well.
Yes, this is what we initiate.
Yeah.
So this is what we organize many often, like in one village, another village, and then sometimes in a center. People have lots of questions. First of all, they still keep this anger, trauma, all this anxiety, it's still there, and
Yeah.
it is. Sometimes if there is a misinformation, it can be even
Exploding.
many times more. Yeah,
Yes.
Explore, not in the right way, not in the right place. So we see our role to help them to get information from right sources, first of all. Then meet people to discuss with professionals, for example, with lawyer or with trustful people, and then make their decisions. So we cannot influence on their decisions,
Yes,
but we can help them to make informed decision. The huge concern is about how we continue to live after this, because with these boxes of humanitarian packages, we cannot
Sustain, yeah.
sustain. Yeah. So another big concern, like common concern that everybody actually experience, is why there is no conversation even about our collective right to return back or to demand the compensation from Azerbaijan. This is right. They feel very offended with that and very angry, and it's there. It's there. So even if you are providing, psychosocial support, but this is work with people, and people need to be listened.
Yeah.
And what we hear is that, first of all, how we're going to continue with such a big, high rents.
Yes.
Amounts are so big, so expensive. And then, why nobody talks about our rights, or like collective right to return to Artsakh? And what I like in our working style, and very much proud of it, is that we just were able in this municipality to bring together all the helpers, individuals like foundations, international organizations, local NGOs, foundations. We sit all together in one room around the table. And as we have direct contact with families, one by one, so we know the situation. We know what is missing in one family, what is missing in another family. We are not talking about individual problems of that families, or we are not talking about case management. We just bring to the attention of helpers what is missing in each family. For example, we have, by the way, in Goris we have very interesting situation. We have 3-4 times more helpers there. Yeah. All the international organizations are having their funds there, and many more less in Massis, for example. Mm-hmm. We have big number of refugees in Massis area, but much less helpers, and the opposite in Goris. So when you have many helpers, then issue of coordination comes into table. So we decided this way, in a very on horizontal level. We are not intervening in your project at all. We are coming, we work with Tufenkian Foundation, we work with UNICEF, and this is in cover all Goris, a large community, all villages, so we know each and every family.
Yeah.
And we know, and they don't know because they cannot go to families.
Yes.
So with our special agreement with local municipality, we get this permission to visit family by family.
By family, yeah. Mira, let's try to end it with a positive note. And we need to do that. Some key successes of your work so far, what would you describe?
I think let me go to different level. As I said, with information, I think it helped with cleaned information, provision of cleaned information. It helped people for their well-being, emotional well-being, and that was like a little bit. It brought some, not calmness, but maybe they felt they're respected.
Yeah.
This is very they are respected. Another success, if we can consider it as a success, is bringing helpers together to be more effective with their own projects.
Yes, on the ground, yes.
Another success is very effective collaboration with local communities and USS, like bringing, working very effectively with both sides. On an individual level and on displaced people level, I would mention feel respected, feeling, having opportunity to talk about their collective demand, and third, access to services like whatever happened, we try to call to other helpers, like, this person needs this and our family needs that. So it was right time intervention. Maybe I will go to individual level that for some people, they started to plan their life.
Yeah.
I cannot say that this is 100% for all families, all individuals, but with such an intervention, the good thing is that people start to plan for their future. Okay, I'm going to stay. I'm planning to produce something. I'm going to start my own business here. Yeah. There are people that still in doubt, but you continuously work with them for stimulation, for encouraging them. Even if you return, for example, in 1 year, during this year you will be doing something. Yeah. Idea here is that mental health means to feel you as a human being. And being human being means that it's not only need to eat something is respected, but also as a human being, your other needs are respected. For example, your feelings, social environment. Lots of people lose their networks. Yeah. Their social networks. Here we're trying to bring them together with local people as well, to have joint activities. When people do something together, they became kind of a network. Yes, social. So, as a success story is that some people decided to stay and they already have some plans, and I think 50 families is a good number.
So this is in Syunik only, 50 in Goris only.
In Goris
yes. So it's,
Goris, 50 families decided that they will start, if they can get some funds, they can start their own plans. We need to help them to stay healthy with mental health. It's so important. Without such support, I think we will miss workforce, we will... I cannot... and find... the positive side of this conversation, I think about people who live especially in that area, in Goris and villages, that among 209 families, we have only 4 families that decided to move from there. So they have already plans.
That's good.
They decided to stay. This is like final station for them. Yeah. And now for us, for helpers, there is another challenge. How to make sure that their decision, they don't feel disappointed because of that decision. Help them to have their income, help them to start something, they have their job, and of course plus for the community and make stronger their networks.
So that's a good ending, I think. And I wish and I hope that almost all families will be able to stay here in Armenia. And of course, our final wish is for them to go back to their land, of course. But until then, I really wish that they would be here in Armenia, stay in Armenia with a dignified life.
Yeah. For the end, thank you for invitation. Thank you for this chance to talk about what is happening there.
I recall that we have Mira Antonyan with us today. She's the president of the Armenian Association of Social Workers. And we, as Tufenkian Foundation, we've partnered with them for social worker services and the center in Goris and the surrounding 8 villages. Thank you. Thank you, Mira.